I do not own the rights to this music. Hello, and welcome to Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron. Sunday School lesson for Sunday, March the 9th, 2025. Our reference material for the Sunday School Summary is based upon the International Sunday School Lesson Series as published by the Sunday School Publishing Board. We are discussing Tabernacles, Sacrifices, and Atonement as the title of the Spring 2025 lesson series. The lesson series connects the Old Covenant sacrifices and offerings as a bridge to understand the New Testament's understanding of Christ's sacrifice. The Tabernacle Sacrifices and Atonement lesson series is categorized into 3 units or groups of lessons, and we are in Unit 1, and we are discussing Tabernacle Sacrifices and Atonement. The title of our second lesson in the Unit 1 Spring Lesson Series is titled Pitching a Tent, or Constructing a Temporary Place for God to Dwell with the Presence of the Children of Israel. The key verse comes from Exodus chapter 25, verse 8, and it reads, "Have them make a sanctuary for me, and I will dwell among them." So God's instructions to Moses, to the children of Israel, to build a sanctuary to him for his habitation. The title of today's lesson, Pitching a Tent, from the book of Exodus. And Exodus records the history of the Israelites' captivity in Egypt and God's delivery of the Israelites from bondage under the leadership of Moses. And during this Egyptian captivity, God protected the Israelites through hardships and miraculous plagues. God's protection demonstrated that Egypt's deities were no match for the God of Abraham. Now, despite the dangers and trials, God provided and protected for them as they escaped Egypt, as they wandered in the wilderness until they arrived at the destination of Sinai, the mountain where God had first revealed himself to Moses and awaited further instructions and commandments from God. In one of these commandments, God instructs Moses to construct a tabernacle or a sanctuary where God would dwell with the Israelites, which brings us to today's lesson. There are 2 summary lesson points for today. Preparing a place for God's presence, and that's from Exodus chapter 25, verses 1 through 9. And honoring God's holiness, and that's from Exodus chapter 26, verse 1, and verses 31 through 37. The passages for the lesson today revolve around the key words of faith, wisdom, covenant, and tabernacle. And we know that faith is the complete trust, assurance, belief, or confidence in God. It is the faith to follow God's commandments on how to build the tabernacle in today's lesson. Wisdom is the ability to apply experience, knowledge, or understanding to produce good judgment. It is the wisdom of the Israelites to freely give their best offerings to God for the tabernacle based on all the things that God has done for them and kept them in today's lesson. Covenant is a binding agreement or legal contract. It is the agreement between God and the children of Israel that the tabernacle is built whole in today's lesson. Tabernacle is a portable tent-like sanctuary or dwelling place to represent God's presence. It is a tent of dwelling that God commanded Moses to construct in today's lesson. Our first summary point is preparing a place for God's presence, and that's from Exodus chapter 25, verses 1 through 9. In these passages, the Lord asks for a free will offering for the construction and operation of the tabernacle that God had commanded Moses to build. And the Lord said to Moses, he says, tell the Israelites to bring an offering, and every person who wants to give can make a gift. And Moses is to accept these gifts, and says that they must receive from the people as an offering. And God has a laundry list of items that he instructed Moses to request from the people as offering: gold, silver, and bronze, linen and goat's hair, and the linen should be purple and red and blue, leather from sheepskins, and the leather should be good leather, and wood from acacia trees, olive oil for the lamps, and spices for the special oil, and incense with a nice smell. And he goes on to say that they should bring precious jewels such as onyx to fix to the priest's ephod or robe and his breastplate. And he says that you must tell the Israelites to make a special place to be my home, and then I will be among them. So he gives Moses the laundry list of the construction materials that he will need and the items that he will need to operate this tabernacle. Honoring God's holiness is our second summary point, and that's from Exodus chapter 26, verses 1 and verses 31 through 37. And these passages discuss the building of the tabernacle as a special place for the presence and holiness of God. And again, God says, make the tabernacle 10 curtains of very good linen. And he says that it should be blue, purple, and red. And it says that the workers should make pictures of cherubims on the curtains, or angels. And he says in the curtain inside the tabernacle, he goes on to say that they should use, again, blue, purple, and red material. And it should be of good linen. And the workers should make pictures of cherubs on it. He also says that it should contain gold rings to hang the curtains from the four poles of the acacia wood. And he says to put the covenant box behind the curtain in the most holy place. Put the special lid on the covenant box in the most holy place. And he says put the special table in the holy place outside the curtain. And he says put the lampstand on the opposite table on the south side. Make a curtain for the entrance to the tent, and again use blue, purple, and red material of good linen. And it says that the workmen should make it look beautiful. And again, he commands Moses that he should use acacia wood to make the 5 poles, and that they should be covered with gold, and they should be fixed to gold rings. And he says they should hang the curtains from the rings on the poles. So God has given Moses instructions to build a tabernacle. He asks and tells Moses what materials to include in the tabernacle and the operation of the tabernacle. So this is the plan for God's tabernacle for the children of Israel, to honor him so that he could remain with them and dwell within their presence. We as Christians have a responsibility to build a tabernacle in our heart, that inner place where we seek the presence of God. This is Brother Ron with the Sunday School Summary for Sunday, March the 9th, 2025. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed week, and we hope to see you next Sunday for another edition of Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron.